Okay, so today's poem is for those who feel unseen, unheard, ignored, very often, especially in a corporate environment or even a small company, any kind of company environment when your staff is, if you're the kind of person who doesn't speak up or say what they need, you get ignored. And the number one cause of resignation is given as bad management or bad leadership. And it doesn't matter where you are. If you feel those above you don't appreciate you, understand you, or make the effort to communicate with you, then that is where the problem often lies. So this one is called Resigned. You give all that you have and it's never enough. It pisses you off when those who do less are rewarded, those who care less are applauded because they shout about what they are doing. And yet here you are, getting on with the work. What irks is all that you do gets ignored. So now you're sick of trying, sometimes crying. To some that might feel excessive, but your ambition and confidence are dying. Appreciation, acknowledgement, praise of some kind, seldom if ever forthcoming. What more can I do? Your screams live inside. But they wouldn't know it. You're good at hiding, smiling through the pain and stress as you keep giving your best, internally crumbling, brain fumbling for what else might impress. But at some point comes the deep sigh. And now you're resigned to a place on the outside, unnoticed, dejected, disengaging. And smiling, lest they think that you're wasting time at your desk. And honestly, now you are doing less than you used to. But the motivation is gone, so why would you? Unless that small spark of hope. But nope, it feels like time. And when you're gone, they'll be surprised. Oh, really? Wow. Why did they resign? I'll tell them. They didn't take the time to learn your appreciation or communication style. They didn't know how to show you weren't failing, and you didn't tell them either. So once things had gone beyond the pale, no one knew that all you both had to do was have the conversation that was being avoided, creating clarity in what was missing, see? To set expectations, awareness, and boundaries too, so that you could feel valued. For when people feel both heard and seen, whether sitting at reception or in the C-suite, the company reaps rewards. Because in everything you give, there would be a sense of self-worth, self-esteem, self-belief, and then there are no limits to what you can do. But managers and boards aren't taught these ways, unless you're lucky. Those training days get forgotten, and employees tend to feel that it's not their place to bring up the thing that could rock the boat, and so it goes. The cycle of bad leadership woes, resignation's number one cause. Of course, there are many ways to reverse this cycle. You could start today. Learn how to ask for what you need, rather than taking it all home and internally bleeding. And companies too must step up to the mark. Training managers in people and not just results. Learning the questions you need to ask to really know who you're working with, what lights their spark, and where they feel they stand. Embracing the whole voice method would be a great start. For in all I have seen, and what I know, is there is hope. Whether it's them or you who makes the change, the time is today to consciously approach and learn to play a whole new communication game. So there we go. Hopefully putting serious topics into a fun way of hearing it through the poem. But the lack of communication and the ability to make sure that you know where you stand can be something that happens at the very beginning of a working relationship. Simple questions, simple structures, so that you know who you're working with, because we all operate from, well, this is obvious to me. This is how I like to be communicated with, so that's clear. Whereas learning the differences and asking and putting those specific structures in place can make an incredible difference. I have had people on the verge of resignation work with me, learn these tools and abilities, and then actually say to their managers, this is what I need. And the whole thing has changed. Literally someone gone from being on the threat of being sacked to actually, I think it's 5 years later now, still in that company and feeling so much more valued. So if this is a challenge for you or those you work with, or if you are or know someone who works in a company that's forward thinking enough to want to create a culture of clear communication, then please do get in touch with me, and let's not keep suffering in this miscommunication and step forward together. I'll be back on Wednesday with a poem about how suffering in silence impacts and how not to suffer in silence. I'll see you then.